Roseanne, while we're waiting for the governor, why don't we talk just a little bit about some of the upcoming events and take advantage of this great opportunity that we have all these people here before the governor comes. And why don't you let them know a little bit about your golf tournament that's coming up and maybe our margaritas and mulligans, the one that we're doing together.
Oh, yes, this is a great opportunity. We're excited that we do have our annual golf tournament coming up at Hunter's Golf Course in Meriden on June 16th. It is our 34th annual tournament, and it raises funds for our education awards for area students. We also have a great combo event that we do with our friends at the Hamden Chamber through the Nutmeg State Chamber Alliance, and that is a special event, special program for women golfers. So it's a ladies golf outing. It's called Margaritas and Mulligans. It'll be held July 29th at Lyman's. And it's also unique in that you have a choice of doing 9 holes or 18. But at the end, we all come together for a nice dinner and a wonderful networking opportunity. If you're not a golfer, you can still come and enjoy the dinner and make some great connections with the folks that will be there. Save the date for September 18th, which is the Midstate Chamber's 125th anniversary celebration, and we're doing that at the AquaTurf, and we're really certainly excited about that as well.
And we have on the same day, unfortunately, it's the same day, we have our Hamden Fest, which is on September 18th. And that's an event where the business community, arts and crafts, civic associations, concerts. It's a really wonderful festival that we have on Town Center Park. We weren't able to have that last year, the first year that we had it in 2019. It all kind of collaborated around our Business and Community Expo that we've done for 15 years. And now we just made that expo even bigger by everything around it, by bringing a stronger awareness of all the things that the community is doing. So we're excited to have that on the 18th. We probably had between 7,000 and 10,000 people on the field that day. So we know being outside, and we want to be able to bring our businesses together and have all these different functions. So we're excited to have that on September 18th. Our golf tournament is on, as Roseanne said, she's got her golf tournament. We have ours on June 29th. It's the Madras Open at the Farms Country Club. We're looking forward to that. And that's presented by Toyota of Wallingford. And our margaritas and mulligans that we do with the Midstate Chamber is proudly sponsored by Ion Bank. So we're excited to have these events. And I think it's important for us for those that are on the call that might not know or know about our partnership. We have one of the most unique partnerships in the state that we've created, which is called the Nutmeg State Chamber Alliance, that we started about over a year ago, just when COVID was starting to happen. We were just getting this off the ground. And what this is a very unique partnership. That's not a merger. It's not an affiliate model. It's a partnership between both of our organizations, all revolving around making our businesses front and center and increasing their business reach. So between the Midstate area, where Meriden and Hamden, we work in partnership together. So a lot of our committees have come together. Our governmental affairs, the reason why we're here today is from the efforts of both legislative groups coming together in one and coming up with events like this. Our leads groups come together, our health and wellness. This is just more eyes on your business. And there's also great opportunities for business to join each other's chambers at a very, very reduced rate. So right now we do have a special that's going on. It's $125 to be a part of the Alliance. And over 100 businesses have already taken the opportunity to be a part of our Alliance. And it's something that we're very, very proud of, and we want more people to know about. And there's definitely tons of opportunities, and Roseanne will say a few words about that as well. But we've really enjoyed the relationship. We have each other's back, and it's wonderful to have a partnership with them. And then down the road, it also helps us internally as well with staffing and things. So we're excited about our partnership, and this is one of the events that we're doing together. So it really kind of highlights what the Nutmeg State Chamber Alliance can do. Roseanne, do you want to say a few words about that?
Absolutely. I do first want to recognize, I'm so glad that both of our mayors are on the call today.
Oh,
Mayor Kevin Scarpetti, Mayor of Meriden, is here with us as well.
Great.
So yeah, you know, the alliance really is tremendous, and you know, I can't say enough about the opportunity that it provides for our members to network, you know, and just to have that added exposure and embed their footprint here with both of our chambers. So it's a wonderful partnership, and we are just so glad to be a part of it, and looking forward to many great events and programs to have in the future. Our committees are meeting. We have our Government and Business Development Committee that meets regularly together, as does our Health and Wellness Council. So you know, those are wonderful ways to really become more informed on what's happening, and the connections that you make through our committee meetings are really valuable. You know, I think we think a lot about our business after hours networking events, which are great. But, you know, I think it's important to always remind our members on both chambers, you know, hopping onto a committee call and getting involved that way is so valuable, because, you know, it gives you the opportunity as a member and an expert in your field to provide great information to those around the table, and again, make some valuable connections there as well. And our committees meet on a monthly basis, and you know, check out our websites for, you know, our calendars. All of our committees are open. While we may not be doing events in person just yet, there is a lot of opportunity, again, to still network virtually. And we also have a great networking group, the CBN Alliance, and that's an open networking group. Yes. So we invite people from the same industry to come and network on a month, actually twice a month we meet. So we're providing a lot of important and valuable ways to connect in this time. And
absolutely.
Yes.
If I may, as the chairman of the, it's my pleasure to be serving as the chairman of the board of directors of the Alliance. It's interesting to note that between the Midstate and just the two Midstate and Hamden chambers together have a reach that is equal to the size of the New Haven Chamber of Commerce, which is a metro. And so in essence, and we are not finished yet, that's why we are the Nutmeg State Chamber Alliance. Other chambers will be joining us, so the reach will become bigger, our impact will become bigger, and our opportunities to assist the constituent chambers will be bigger, but all you businesses that are out there will still have the benefit of your own individual chamber focusing on you, while giving you more impact through your chamber dollar. It's just a matter of spending a little time to promote your business. You're going to do it anyway. So this just makes it better and better. And the $125 offer that Nancy mentioned is, and on top of your regular chamber dues, if you
right.
Local chamber, you pay $125, you become a full member of every chamber in the Alliance that's in the directory, and you can attend all of the functions at the member rate, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very good thing. So
right. Looks like we're going to probably have the governor jump on shortly. So thank you, Tom, and thank you for all your guidance that you've been with us through our alliance. While we're getting the governor to come on right now, Roseanne, do you want to talk a little about the technical side of it? While there's over 50 some odd people that are in the room, we want to let people know about how to put the question and answers in. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Nancy.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning, Governor.
Good day. Glad it's Friday.
Glad it's Friday. Well, welcome aboard. We're thrilled that you're with us. We were just going to have Roseanne Ford, who's the president of the Midstate Chamber of Commerce, just go over a little bit of the technical issues before we start on how people can ask questions. So Roseanne, would you like to just discuss the technical side of it?
Absolutely. Thanks, Nancy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for starting your morning with us. Happy Friday to you. I'm Roseanne Ford, president of the Midstate Chamber of Commerce, and just a few things to review for our attendees this morning. We are recording this webinar for viewing later, so please, when you see us share the link, please Also share it with your friends and colleagues. And we really want to thank all of you that submitted questions in advance. We did get quite a few, some great questions. We'll do our best to get to as many of those as possible in the short time that we have this morning. You can ask questions today using the Q&A feature that's on your screen. All questions will be monitored by Paul Begman that's with us today. And I just want to take a moment and repeat that. Please use the Q&A feature that's on your screen because that is the section that we're monitoring. So again, our time together is short and we want to jump right in. So I'm going to turn it back over to Nancy.
Sure, thank you. So Governor, we just wanted to introduce the people that were in the room today for you. So we have Tom Welch, who is Attorney Tom Welch from Updike, Kelly and Spellacy, and he will be the one going over, the moderator. He'll be going over the questions with you. He's also the chairman of our Nutmeg State Chamber of Alliance and on the Midstate Chamber's Board of Directors. Obviously, you know Roseanne Ford, president of the Midstate Chamber of Commerce. Attorney Paul Begman from Jesmone, Petrosimone, and Squignari. He's going to be monitoring all the questions that are going to be coming in the question and answer. And if there's things that need to be asked, he will have a direct line to Tom to be able to get those questions to you, Governor. And we also have our two sponsors with us that we do want to have some sponsor remarks. We're thrilled to have with us Kelly Wade Batucci. She is, as you know, she doesn't need an introduction. She's the Regional Director of External and Legislative Affairs with AT&T. And we also have NQ Industries, which is a manufacturing company in Hamden that makes UV air purification systems. So we're thankful to have these two sponsors with us. And actually, Kelly, I'd like to start with you if you'd like to have a few sponsor remarks.
Sure. Thank you, Nancy. Just wanted to say good morning. So excited to be here and really excited to be one of the sponsors of today's event. I want to thank Nancy and Roseanne for putting the program together. We really value our partnership with the chambers and all the work that they do in the community for businesses and residents alike. And finally, we'd just like to say thank you to the governor for taking time out of his busy schedule. We know he's been doing so many great things for the state of Connecticut over the last, during this whole pandemic. And we know you've got a lot on your plate. And so anytime that you can take a few moments to be with us and give us some insight into, what we have going on, we really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. And I'd like to introduce you to Bill Casey, who's the president of NQ Industries, and Peter Broadbridge, who's the vice president of engineering from NQ Industries. Would you like to say a few words to the governor?
Absolutely, Nancy, and thank you so much for putting all this together. And good morning, Mr. Governor and everyone. I'm Peter Broadbridge, vice president of engineering, as Nancy said. Bill Carey, owner of the company.
Good morning.
And president. We manufacture air quality systems, air cleaning systems. We're based in Hamden, Connecticut. We've been based in Connecticut for 29 years, and we nearly exclusively source, when we can, Connecticut-based products for our products. You wanna?
Sure. Good morning, Governor. Good morning, all. Thank you for having us on. Very simply, we are a company that manufactures products that sterilizes indoor air in any application, hospital, commercial, residential, restaurant, anywhere you could think of. The products that we manufacture exclusively here in Connecticut are patented UV-based products that we invented almost 30 years ago. And we've been specifically focused on the hospital industry, but as of last spring, obviously we're focused on every industry. And the response globally for our products have been overwhelming. So much so that we keep outgrowing buildings we move into. And we're enjoying this huge explosion. Unfortunately, it happened, but we were in the right place at the right time. And the products we have are very effective, more commercially based, haven't really been in the residential market, but our focus specifically now is on indoor air quality in all types of commercial buildings. And the applications that we have been asked to look at are various and wide. They're all over the place. So we're enjoying this huge infusion of business, and it doesn't seem like it's going to subside anytime in the future. Even though the vaccines are coming out, people are starting to develop herd immunity, the indoor air quality issues are still very problematic and will persist, we think, well into the future, just because of how widespread this disease is. And the biggest thing we're focused on right now is making sure that we expand enough so we can keep up with demand, given the global shortages of certain components and certain materials. And that's our biggest challenge now, is to keep our supply chains moving smoothly. But right now, as I said, we've been enjoying a very brisk very large audience of people, and it just keeps expanding every month. So we're unfortunately busy for what we are, but again, we're busy and we're enjoying this very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for, again, for all that, our sponsors are so important to us, but it's also great to kind of put, to get your information out to beyond the community. The work that you're doing behind the scenes right now, keeping all these facilities feel safe to go back into the workplace again, has been wonderful. And it's been a pleasure being able to open up and show your facility, your manufacturing facility right in Hamden to more people. So we're glad that you're on the call with us, and we're glad you have a chance to talk to the governor too, to let him know about what you do. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so, Governor, we're going to turn that over to you. And it's so nice to see you. And I was thinking the last time you were with us in Hamden was at Whitney Center at our last legislative breakfast in February, just before everything started to happen. And I was thinking about the questions that we were asking of you on that day. And it was really only the last question that we were saying, what about this virus that's going to be potentially affecting our state and our country? And it's amazing to see that was our last in-person event, and we haven't had one since. So it's just interesting to see now here we are on this platform, but I think what the state is doing, you're doing an incredible job. Thank you so much for your leadership, your guidance. Everything that you've rolled out has been wonderful to watch, and trying to get our state back to business. And in May, we can't wait for May 1st to happen. So we're excited that you're coming on at a perfect time, knowing that you just released the new initiatives that are coming out on May 1st. So we'd love to hear more from you on that. And I want to turn that over to Tom Welch, who will again be moderating this conversation back and forth. But thank you again for taking your time to be with us today.
Greetings. So thank you very much. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Alliance, I'm going to thank you very, very much for being here with us. And in fact, the Alliance is a relatively new formal mechanism to put together chambers, smaller chambers, to have a bigger impact. And we've put together, as the constituent chambers have, a legislative agenda. And that legislative agenda is a one-pager, basically, just talking about the various points of interest to us in the entire footprint. And we've shared that with you, and we do with all of our legislators. And it's really at all levels of government. So when I talk about in the legislative agenda or the agenda, that's what I'm talking about in some of these questions. We put together a list of questions, but we've also gotten a few others that have come in by email. So I may be bouncing you around a little bit in topics as the questions come in, and there's a few more coming in live over the chat. The first question, of course, is our 600-pound gorilla, what we've been fighting with for the last year, and that is our COVID response. Originally, we were going to be asking you about when we were going to be reopening restaurants, and that question got mooted, I'm happy to say. However, you've been criticized by the Hartford Courant, among others, for being too aggressive in your opening of businesses, and others have criticized you because you haven't been moving fast enough to reopen. So the question that we ask you is, what criteria do you use and for making the decision whether to reopen or maybe even to close again? And who's in the room? Are business folks in the room talking to you? Are you taking them into consideration when you are making these decisions?
Yeah, Tom, absolutely. Let me back up for just 1 second. Yeah, Nancy, it was pretty ironic, wasn't it? I think it was a year ago, February. We couldn't even spell COVID at that point. This last in-person meeting I did as well. And what a year it has been. And must have been pretty busy for NQ Industries, I gotta say. I mean, air purifying in this day and age, and it's not just related to COVID. This is probably not the last of these events we're going to go through. I can tell you that we have significant federal money, and a lot of that's related to our schools. A lot of that's related to ventilation. So you should be part of that and make sure we're prepared next time. And, you know, Todd, we would have been able to open up restaurants even faster if we had NQ Purification in all of those facilities. And Kelly, I'm going to be meeting with AT&T down at UConn Stanford a little later today because UConn Stanford you designated as the first 5G university in the whole Northeast, and what a difference that makes. You could have chosen Quinnipiac, by the way, but anyway, you went with UConn, and I think we learned over this last year that online access is not just a nice to have, it's vital. We've learned that in terms of education. We've learned that in terms of telehealth. We have thousands of people moving back to the state of Connecticut or moving to the state of Connecticut. And telecom is a big piece of that because you don't have to be in New York. You don't have to be in Stanford, 5 days a week if you can telecommute. So, Tom, that's a filibuster. The answer to your question, look, people were critical when we started reopening on May 20th last year. And they, and many people say, don't open anything until you have a 0% infection rate. And that COVID's never coming back. And we're never going to be in a risk-free world, but we have consistently and cautiously reopened, over the last year. Generally speaking, our infection rate has continued to go down. Over the last couple of months, it's gone down dramatically. For everybody over the age of 45, we're getting close to herd immunity there. And that really allows us to get back to our new normal. So you're right, we said May 1st, outside, let's get going. Bars, restaurants, if you're in close quarters with people you don't know, still wear the mask. And indoors, continue to wear the mask. May 19th, we open up more, especially when it comes to indoor, bar and the such. I'll love your feedback, Tom, from your members if they want to text or something. I've had a lot of restaurants and stores say, look, I can make a mask a guidance, no longer a mandate after, say, May 19th. And you can figure out what you think makes your customers feel safe and your employees feel safe. But I would tell you, Tom, that most of the folks I've talked to said, keep the mask mandate indoors a little bit longer. Don't make us be the ones making the judgment. I prefer to blame the governor if somebody complains, and I'm happy to take it.
One follow-up question on that we got just on the chat is, for gyms and sports facilities, when does the mask mandate change to suggested? They're suggesting that the CFC Arena has 60,000 square foot facility in Hamden, which provides plenty of air exchange. And will you be requiring folks? So that question did come in as relating to sports facilities.
Yeah, well, indoor gyms, first of all, we're going to continue the mask at least until May 19th. Then the legislature, as you maybe know, weighs in. They may have a point of view on that, maybe with a little distancing and maybe NQ air purification. We can start relaxing that over a period of time. The big arenas, the indoor arenas, my instinct is, look, we've got the NCAA lacrosse championships coming to Rensselaer Field. And I said, look, at 50% capacity, keep your space, probably outside. If you're with friends who friends who have been vaccinated, probably no need for a mask. But the NCAA is I think, going to say, I'd like people to keep wearing the mask a little bit longer. So we're giving a lot of discretion. We've got the bare minimum out there, and a lot of other facilities are creating their own protocols.
For your information, both mayors, by the way, of Hamden and Meriden are participating today. And I see a question came in about the systems and a response from NQ, one of our sponsors, relating to the and pointing out that the NQ systems really destroy 100% of the airborne particles and pathogens. So it should be sufficient if there's any question as to use of those systems. I'd like to shift the next question to perhaps something more central to business these days, and that is the cost of doing business in Connecticut. We realize that the cost of doing business in Connecticut, because of where we are, is higher potentially than other parts of the country. But when we in the chamber have advocated and the agenda indicates, that really what we've got to do is encourage the state to perform its primary governmental functions, but to outsource things that it doesn't have to run itself, either to the nonprofit sector or et cetera. And basically to right size the government in an attempt to reduce the direct costs as much as possible and make it as efficient as possible. But some proposals that are currently in the General Assembly would further increase costs and maybe activities of state government. What we would like to hear from you on what your thoughts on these proposals for increasing taxes in particular, and your thoughts on right sizing the government, if you will.
Well, first off, I'm the first business guy to lead the state in a long time. Our chief operating officer had 12 years at IBM. We're putting in place IT and technology. We're getting ready for a lot of retirements over the next year or two, and figuring out, as you say, Tom, what is the right size? What should the state of Connecticut be doing? What should our not-for-profits, for example, be doing? This is a transformative time for us to be doing this. We, as I said, we got our budget balanced 2 years in a row. We've held the line on, big increases in spending. And I think when it comes to administrative and overhead, I kind of like what you guys are doing in terms of regionalizing the chambers. We're consolidating our IT system. Everybody in HRs and DAS is not all over the place right now. So we're doing some of that same consolidation, which is going to save the taxpayers a lot of money. And more importantly, provide a higher quality of service for our customers. That's you, the taxpayers. As an aside, I can tell you, we're having a little harder time getting our municipalities, mayors, to think about how they can share some of the back office functions, which I think would serve to hold down property taxes. Having a little harder time with the academics trying to get the community colleges to share back office as well. But I understand, where we got to go, what our state's got to look like. It'll be leaner, more cost effective, and I think better service. I don't know if you've noticed any improvement at DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, but that was always the punching bag. I've run for office a few times. Everybody's always letting them have it, Everybody hates DMV when you're waiting those long lines, but no longer. You now get your license renewed online. And that's brought down dramatically the wait times. And it's the type of thing we can do with IT. Your other question was, taxes and spending in the legislature. I'd say two things. One, we're going to be rolling out today what we're doing in terms of the $6 billion in federal funding that really takes care of the social needs that have been, the Band-Aid's been ripped off, and we know where those needs are over the course of the last year. In terms of our urban populations, in terms of our kids, and in terms of economic development and business, really making a big emphasis there to get this economy growing again now that we have some of our economic winds to our back. And we don't need any new taxes. We've got the budget balanced now. We've got a good budget for the next 2 years. We've got some federal support. We've got the rainy day fund, and we're able to take care of people's needs. So let's just say it's the beginning of a robust conversation with the legislature over the course of the next few weeks.
Right. The question came in from Capital Strategies Group in Hartford relating to the public option healthcare, the Senate Bill 842, creating a new state-run government public health option. It's causing concern. I noticed that it had moved yesterday it was, I believe, voted out of committee yesterday. Will enormous amounts of federal money flowing to our existing state health insurance exchange under the American Recovery Act? Why would we create an additional completely new program? How do we ensure the taxpayers are not left with the overruns? And would you veto it?
Yeah, well, it depends what the deal is. But let me start with the fact that, look, I come out of small business. We all know that those double-digit health insurance hits are pretty tough on small business. We don't have a lot of purchasing power, and we got to provide it, right? We got to provide it. So we've got proposals in place that would mitigate the increase in pharmaceutical costs. We're trying to prioritize, the health systems, the hospitals that provide higher quality at less cost, and send people to go there. So those are, I think you ought to work on the underlying costs of healthcare. My biggest issue with the public option is it doesn't deal with the underlying costs of healthcare. It sort of says, hey, let's take the insurance risk from the private insurers and put it on the backs of the taxpayers, which I don't think makes a lot of sense. So broadly, though, Tom, we all want to do what we can to reduce the high price of healthcare, especially for working families, especially for small business. And as you point out, you know, Biden has got a big expansion of access on the exchange, where folks earning up to $70,000, $75,000 a year now will see dramatic decreases in what they have to pay for premiums. I mean, better than a 50% decrease. So I think I would tend to focus there. And finally, not to be too long-winded, we've worked hard with our insurers to get additional options on the exchange for them to consider. Cigna and Oscar, if you know them, the online, have launched theirs just in the last couple of days. I'm told it represents about a 10 to 15% discount. So we are taking the high cost of healthcare seriously.
A follow-up question on that, also from the Capital Group, is a question about many companies in the region are involved in the growing bioscience ecosystem. The biotechs in our region are concerned about legislation that this is a House Bill 6447 now being considered that would make Connecticut the first state to impose price caps for pharmaceuticals. How do we know that this will not impact this and negatively impact this industry we're trying to grow?
Well, you won't like this as much, but I'm sort of sympathetic to that. And I'll tell you why. The pharmaceuticals, those drug prices are going like this, generally up a lot. They represent about 25% of our costs, and they represent 25% of healthcare costs for small business. All the investment risk, all the R&D is paid for in that initial price that comes out of you know, the FDA. So nobody's going to do anything to discourage innovation. Especially, you know, where we are today is, I think, a biopharma hub here in, you know, Hamden, New Haven, and that part of the region. We're working closely with the pharmaceutical companies, but I do want to do things that hold down the rate of increase in the price of pharmaceuticals.
Excellent. We have a couple of questions relating to transportation that have come up. One, we feel the Alliance Chambers feel it's very important for the Southern Connecticut and Central Connecticut region to improve and expand Tweed New Haven Airport. Yet recently we noticed that there's a state-funded alternative that's being posed to study the expansion of the Bridgeport-owned Sikorsky Airport in Stratford, the Lordship section, to as an alternative. Do you have any input on that, or because we're quite concerned about making sure that the expansion of Tweed New Haven occurs?
Yeah, look, I think that New Haven should be the transportation hub of the state of Connecticut. I think when it comes to rail, I think when it comes to where you see in terms of traffic, and when it comes to Tweed Airport, and given the central location, it just seems obvious to me. I think you're going to hear real progress when it comes to Tweed Airport over the coming months. And a lot of airlines, I know they got hit by COVID, but are taking a look at smaller airports as regional hubs. And I think you're going to see some activity there. You know, I got to clear out some of the political debris, but I think that's how we can get that done. What a difference that would make. And that doesn't mean that Sikorsky can't do something either. They've got a lot more open space around them than Tweed does, and it might be more suitable, for example, for passenger and freight, because it's freight traffic. You know, they got Amazon right next door, so don't think of them as mutually exclusive. We can figure that out. If I could just put a little pitch in for transportation, just to get everybody revved up. You know, we're out of money in our transportation fund. Nobody likes to hear it. Mayor Pete and, you know, down in Washington, he runs transportation now. He's going to provide significant resources for airports and for high-speed rail, dramatic, as long as states like Connecticut can put up their 10 to 20% We need a recurring revenue stream to do it. So I proposed, a highway user fee on big tractor trailer trucks. Nobody liked tolls, let's face it, but this is a way that we could raise ourselves about 90 million bucks. Don't let them say it's for the small fuel pizza delivery guys. It's big tractor trailers and allows us to make those investments that make New Haven the transportation hub. So I know it's not popular, but if you want to talk to your legislators, it'd be helpful.
You had but were recently quoted as saying that you would prefer to use any federal infrastructure funds for 5 or 6 really important transformative things, I believe. Would transportation projects such as the Hartford's I-84 91 interchange and Meriden 91 691 interchange qualify? And do you support a focus on those particular projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, up until COVID, you knew how much money was wasted sitting in traffic. I mean, any of the businesses here know what that complaint is. We're going to see how the world sorts out now post-COVID. I mean, many fewer people in the rail. Are they going to be coming back? Most people back in their cars right now, and truck traffic is, more than ever. So those are the type of choke points, Tom, that are really important we invest in. It's not like, in the old days, I got to add another lane and all that stuff. We're fine. That's not what the case is. There are 6 or 7 really severe choke points where if you extend the exit lane, you can speed up commute times by 5-10 minutes. So the answer is yes.
Excellent. How much? Just wanted to check to see how we're doing on time with you.
I can't remember. How are we doing on time?
We should be wrapping up.
I think I got about 5 minutes. How's that?
Excellent. Okay, great. Another question that has come in relates to the recent issues relating to the 1099 nursing home workers and the pending strikes at over 50 nursing homes to try to increase the base pay of the nursing home workers, and advocating for an increase in Medicaid rates to these nursing homes in order to accomplish that. Could you please weigh in on that?
Well, first of all, a shout out to our nursing homes. Last year, overrun. That was the worst of the fatalities and complications related to COVID happened in the nursing homes, and those nurses showed up every day. So a little credit where credit's due there. A lot of other people, they could telecommute, not the nurses at the nursing homes. We got them about $250 million in combat pay and additional support for the nursing homes. Scrambled like hell all over the globe, make sure they could get the masks and the PPE that they needed. Now it's a year later, and look, I'm happy to do more to support the nursing homes, but not without reform. I mean, we've got more nursing home beds per capita than just about any state in the country. We got about 30% of those beds are empty. It's much more expensive in the nursing homes than it is for home health care. So I'm going to do what I can to support those frontline workers, but I like to couple it with some real reforms.
Okay. We have a question relating to the education cost sharing formula. It's believed to be outdated and needs to be replaced. Wealthier municipalities receive payments that are out of sync with their needs. What would you replace the ECS with, or what's your position on that?
Look, they just redid the ECS 5 years ago, and we're doing our best to get that funded. It takes, puts more money into those most distressed communities where kids are much more likely to be left behind. And I think this is what I think. I think we've got $1 billion extra that's going into our schools over the next 2 years, Tom. And that's really going to be focused on those kids who have been left behind. That's going to be focused on starting up learning camps this July. And I want you to tell your mayors and, hey, Kurt and Kevin, I mean, I need your help there in making sure that we can get these open with Boys and Girls Club and YMCAs across the state, and do what we can to help those kids get back in the game. This fall, Tom, we're going to be opening up our schools. Sorry, NQ, it's not all going to go to ventilation systems. It's also going to be going to after-school programs, counseling and advice and mentorship, a little bit of IT, just ways that we can help the kids get going again. That's my real emphasis over the next 2 years. We got plenty of resources to do it right.
And the final question, because we're being asked to wrap it up now.
Yeah.
It relates to, once again, to maybe bookending it with our COVID issue, and that is the lessons maybe we've learned from it. Maybe you've learned from it, you'd like to remark on. Should we plan for future pandemics or other similar emergencies now? Going through this, can you see changes potentially to legislation or that we should be making and thinking about? Or is the emergency powers, executive action appropriate and sufficient? What's your thinking as you've been living through this for the last year? What lessons have you learned that maybe we should be thinking about?
I can tell you the federal government was absolutely unprepared, and they were late to the game, and it was governors had to step up very early across the country. You know, I kept hearing about that stockpile down. Why there was no stockpile? There was nothing there. So we were traveling all over the globe to get what we needed. We've got a good stockpile now, so that's one, answer you've got. We worked really closely with our hospitals, who are amazing. We know what we need in terms of backup, in terms of nursing when they're at risk, what we need in terms of childcare, all those essential services. You've got to keep going, even in the worst of a pandemic. But let me leave you on something a little happier. I think that people are taking a second look at the state of Connecticut. And I think that's good. Remember 2 years ago, oh, how sleepy, my kid wants to be in New York, all that stuff. No longer. I mean, we have tens of thousands of people moving to the state of Connecticut. We have businesses, moving to the state of Connecticut. I think we got our fiscal house in order in a way we haven't in a long time. And with telecommuting, all of a sudden our location is pretty good. Easy access, especially if we get Tweed going, easy access to major hubs. But a nice place to visit, don't have to live there. And I think that all plays to Connecticut's strengths. So I am pretty optimistic, and I would urge, all the business leaders on this call, make sure your folks get vaccinated. We'll bring the mobile van right to your business. You tell us where it is, free of charge, no questions asked. Give everybody a day off if 100% of the people get vaccinated at NQ Industries. People need some incentives to do the right things sometime. And hey, with that, thank you. I appreciate the chance to be with you all. And it's a good time to be in Connecticut.
Thank you so much, Governor. We really appreciate your time and insight. We're very, very appreciative. Thank you so much.
See you, Nancy. Take care, everybody.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. It was great to have him with us. I know he's on to the next call, but it was just great to hear from him and have his insight. And it was wonderful to have him with us. So thank you all for being here. Tom, did you want to say a few things?
We didn't get to all the questions. There's
yeah.
ones that did come in. So thank you very much also for everybody for participating. This was helpful. And we certainly do appreciate it. Let's talk this up. It's nice that we ended our questions with an upbeat answer, which
Absolutely.
Seeing as well that we're getting, we're coming out of it now, and Connecticut's gotten a second look. So excellent.
Great. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, NQ Industries, for being with us. Thank you for our mayors being on the call as well. And we see your comments in the chat room, and the governor knows that you were there. So we're thrilled that you were able to join us this morning. Stay connected to us. Stay connected on our Facebook pages. Roseanne put both of our information into the chat room. Stay connected to our Facebook pages and our websites, and we'll be in touch real soon. Thank you all for being here, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.